Aloha. All right, make sure we're in tune. So, first alternate chord that we were looking at was from a C major. Now, rather than having just our third finger on the A string at the 3rd fret, we can actually play a C major and put down our pinky and play a C sus4, thusly giving us an F note over the top of a C note, giving us a sus. Not traditional, even if it wasn't like a C sus2. C sus4 gives you a little bit thicker over the top fold, as you know. What I was trying to explain is maybe it's a little bit easier to take that C note and that F note and play them with one finger. You made the observation that at that point you really don't need that 3rd finger. I keep that finger there just for a little bit of footing, helps the other 2 fingers adjust. You will have to move this up and down a little bit just to kind of figure out where the best way is to play that structure. And I never mentioned this because it's a little abstract, but don't quite think of pressing bar chords and putting your finger down like being individual things. If you put down your finger anywhere and press down, you kind of get used to where and how hard you need to press. And I know saying it out loud, it doesn't really make sense. But when we go through the process of doing this, you just want to get a note out of every one of these notes. So what I'm doing right now is actually really good exercise just to hit individual notes. Makes no sense, but you just go up and down the whole fretting, going up a fret each time you get through all 6 notes. Yeah? Go all the way up to the 12th fret. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. The idea that stems from that is when you take your first finger and you play that same 2-note variation you were doing with your 3-note fingers here, playing a C and a F note, you can do C, F, C, F, C, F, C, F. I kind of lift up just a little bit between the 2 to mute it. If I didn't, it would sound like very legato. I just like making them a little staccato. C and F, and then when we put our finger up here, we have, of course, our C again. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, C, C. So this C, right above it, if we have our F here, we would have a drop down in our F is going to go to a G sharp, right? No. E. So when we have this E note, we have a C, F, C, E. Well, it just so happens because it's the 5th in there, or the 3rd there, you've got your 3rd up top, which is very interesting because now you could basically have an A shape up top here with this, and you're removing this note right here, which is your 5th, and putting in a 4th. Cool, huh? So C, F, C, and E. Knowing this, you can even do your sus from the aforementioned up top or down below. I prefer down below when it happens to be C, D, E, F, and G. Anything above that, I do the higher ones. Always sounds better than for some reason. So that's the first type. That could go anywhere. And remember when you're doing these to get that full kind of chord exposure and you get that full major chord, when playing and having that, just that right there, that sus note on top, you can put your 2nd finger all the way down on this E string and mute it while you're doing that. So good exercise is going 3, 3, mute, 3, 3, mute, 3, 3, mute, 3, 4, mute, 4, 4, mute, 4, 4, mute, 4, 4, mute, 5, 5, mute, 5, 5, mute, 5, 5, mute, 5, 5, all the way up and down. Either way. It gets you used to playing a muted note as well as a full through legato note or staccato note. The next one they showed was the A major. Now, rather than having it here as a traditional A major, having the lead of A on the bass, E is its 5th there, A is its octave, and then C sharp as its 3rd up top, we can take that A major and put a C sharp in the bass here by skipping a fret, which is fret 3, and putting our 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the A string, which gives us a really cool A major / C sharp, basically using the 3rd off of the top. This type of inversion is great when trying to move up the boards from A to A with a C to D. A with a C sharp, and then D major. It's a great moving because you're actually thinking of that C as a C sharp, C sharp minor 7. 1, 7, 1, 3, 7, 3. I like these as moving chords, but that's a full chord, and we're talking about alternate chords. So using this A, this C sharp as an inversion, I have this bar chord A up here, and then I get rid of everything except for my middle finger and my third finger. When I do that, it leaves me a E on the bass, which is great, but then it leaves that D open. So what you can do is move that third finger down just a little bit so it mutes it and plays that E note. Another way to do it is just take it off that E note, put it one string above so you have just your third and just your root, and that gives you fifth root, root, fifth root, root, third, and then a sus note over the top of an A. Pretty cool, I love that sound. And then E, of course, is the same as on below. So that E is super special. You can as well play it in your second fingering rather than your first. Whew, third's hard. Second fingering, and then you can take the back of the fat on that middle finger or second finger and kind of pull it down a little bit, and it will mute it. So you don't get that. It's deprived of it. Cool? That works well when you're doing these mutings to play it right here and mute the other chords with your first finger. Means your attack is going to need to go right in towards these two notes. On certain things it works well. A number of things I use with the E and the B over the top of it. So if I were to play an E and do it open, you hear it. Play an F major, but don't make your bar all the way through. Only play the low F note. Everything else is part of your chord or that note, which leaves the E and the B open. Hear how that works over a lot of these chords? There's rarely only one or two in this whole movement that doesn't work. I don't think that one works. That does. And then there's just different variations. Which leads me to the next concept. That is an A. So if we know how to play an A major right here, and we know how to play an A minor right here, all we have to do is take those two shapes and move them up the fretboard. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Diminished, a little weird, but when you flatten the 5 off of your already flattened 1, 3, it'll make more sense that you just flatten one finger every time in different places. So, without further ado, here's an A major. When I play a B minor, if I get rid of my B structure, I'm left with an E, A, I've got, what is that, an F sharp, C sharp, and then a D. Those sound fine with your 4 notes, or even completing it without the open E but having an F sharp. But then that A and then the E do not work. Therefore, what I do is I play with my second note crease where the line on my finger is. First note, second note, right here, right before it goes to the third. I play that top E note to the side of my finger and lay the rest of my finger down and mute the bottom part of that chord. So I thusly get... I'm still playing a bar chord, but I'm not pressing down to get those low notes if you don't want to. It still works to get those upper half. If you only think about the upper half of the guitar, you could actually play like the A minor, the E major all the way up like that. So what we would go over is the positions in the E, the A, and the D. So here is the positioning in the A. I'll just do the middle one first. A major to a B minor. B minor to a C sharp minor. And then we're going to go a half step for our fourth. Our A minor, C sharp minor, D major. Up a whole step for our E major. We're going to go up another whole step for our F sharp minor and change our positioning back from a major to a minor. We're going to move that same minor up a whole step again because it's our third whole step movement. And then we're going to take this fifth and drop it down. So we're going to have essentially a bar at the 11th fret. Our 2 and 3 finger are going to be playing the D string and the B string collectively on the 12th fret. And our pinky is going to play the 13th on that G, right? And it's going to sound like... Fun, huh? If I were to complete the other end of it and throw this down here, right here, what we would be seeing is a C7, right? No, is that right? No, G sharp diminished is essentially A, B, C, D, E. So an E7 is essentially what we're doing when we play this up here. We're just not putting down our other fingers over here because we only have the 4. If I did, it would sound like that, right there. Kinda. Cool. So A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor. Move that F sharp minor up to like F sharp minor, G minor, G sharp minor, and then move back this finger here, that finger there, and place that. So the switch is going to be. So what you practice on is looking at like the A minor shape right here. And if you did it up here, you would go from an A minor to a, what it would look like would be your 2 bookends and then your pinky up right here. And that would give you essentially what you're looking for your diminish. A, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished by moving those. And then that resolves to your A major. D major. When we slide up and then we switch this into our minor, we have to move that up. So what I like to do is do a D major, go all the way up here to the 4th fret, play the same measure, and then move those two teeter-totter style to get a minor. So D major, E minor. So on this one, when you move your D, your 3rd finger is going to be the leader, going from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret, D to the E, thusly giving D major, E minor. When we take this E up to an F sharp, that minor still holds the same. And then when we go all the way to the 7th fret, we get our 4th. D, E, F sharp minor, G major, A major. The next one goes to a minor, right? So we've got our B minor, and then the next one we're gonna go up with our minor here, but we're gonna wanna drop down our 5th. So instead of having a minor, we need to drop down our 5th, so, woo! Sorry. There's, what are we in? B minor. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B minor, C sharp diminished. C sharp diminished is going to be the same as our 5th. Our 5th, D, E, F, G, A, essentially. So what we're looking for is an A7. No, that's A7, sorry. The A7 down here would be all the way to the 2nd fret, open up that A note all the way from an A flat, G. When we have the G, the 2 bookends and our pinky up here on the G, we get our A7. So it's no different up here. We get, and then that resolves to our D. So coming out of our B minor, if we had our B minor, we're going to be doing our bar chord across the 12th, playing what looks like an A, and putting our pinky out on the G, and then it resolves to our 1, our D. This one goes to E, and this will be the final thing that we're going to talk about here. E, we're going to scoot that up a half step, leave our finger from the G sharp to the A, and then rather than keeping our 2 fingers here on the 3rd fret, we're going to lift both of them up and then use our 3 and 4 fingers to play the 4th fret, same 2 strings, the A and the D string, giving us. So the idea is, so it's an F sharp minor, but it has a E over the bottom of it. Thusly, we're just going to be moving up the E major to its minor 2nd, but it's going to give a very major sound over the top of it because we have those 2 sus notes, which take away the feeling that we're looking at the 3rd being kind of over the top. We aren't introducing E's 3rd, the G sharp, because it's an A and that will be a flat note, but it would happen to be if the G sharp was in there, like a major 7 kind of feel. You just don't want to put those notes in there as well. So if we have our E and we slide up here to the F sharp, essentially we go another octave, whole step, and it gets a G sharp minor. Now this would be an E major with a G sharp. Still accomplishes the same thing. That's a little note heavy. It's a little full. Doesn't feel as awesome as this. And the reason why it works is I'm quite literally muting that other G, as you so pointed out. You don't have to. It'll feel a little weird. However, when we move up from E, F sharp, G sharp, and then to A, you're going to play that same A major and then B major here. When we go up, we can play that minor shape to go up here to the C. C sharp, what are we in? E, yeah, so C sharp, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B nice D sharp diminished. We're gonna go up here with that D sharp minor, but we're gonna drop down one finger to give us that flat 5 right there. So we have a 1 flat 3 5 5, and then it's gonna resolve to your D. I hope those are really cool. When you put together those chord structures with scales like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I use the same E major scale, but I just, instead of using the low note, I started with the second one. So E major, F sharp, minor. See what I'm moving up in those scales? They don't have to be all the notes. They could just be 2 notes. E major. Kind of turns into Melissa after you listen to it a couple times. Anyway, it was great seeing you today. I hope this helps out. There are other alternative chords besides just the Dave type of chords that I showed you from the last video lesson. And we could go over different types of adding and opening. Essentially, you're using the chords that are already there and playing simplified chords to get the same idea. You might be adding a 9th, a 13th, an 11th here and there. Sometimes it won't work with certain tunes, but believe you me, you're doing an amazing job. And the people that I play with that only know 2 chords, they can play a D7 and a C7 and a G7 all day long. But they have no clue how to do a D major 7, C major 7, and a G major 7. So it's very interesting to see the rhythmic patterns, the finger notes, and the fretboard recognition all coming together. I know that these aren't foreign to you, but putting concepts together like this kind of is. So I'm going to think really hard this week on how to find a song that you and I would both know that would have representations of all these things. One that comes to mind would be like Ramble On. Has every chord I think we were just playing out. I need to go over it again to make sure I'm doing it right. Anywho, it's good seeing you. See you next week. Aloha.